Yo guys, in this video, I'm going to quickly walk you through how to do compositing inside Octane's Compositor with inside of Blender. I just used it to do this little darker background thing. Very simple setup here. But again, this is the type of stuff I do inside of my Blender Octane School community. If you guys are new here, my name is Patrick LeVar. I've been learning Blender Octane for the last 6 years, teaching everything I know about it and giving it out here free on this YouTube channel. If you guys want more exclusive help, one-on-one, stuff like that, links down below. Blender Octane School, 7-day free trial. Enough of my jibber jabber. Let's get into the video. So we've got this your default compositing setup that comes default here. And then I have layer one, which is just the beauty pass. Okay. Then I also have just my default setup that I use for noise, basically allowing me to control how much denoise is being applied to the image. Okay. That's it. That's the basic default setup. Now, if I jump back over here, I want to show you what I was able to achieve using the setup here. And is Blender going to crash and not cooperate? I bet you oh, there it goes. Okay, cool. So basically this is what we've got going here. We got this car render here. And if you notice the background, look at the background. Let me show you without the AOV. This is just the pure render. That's just the pure render setup. Okay. And like, I wasn't really happy with the background. So I was like, whatever. I didn't really want to show that. So I was going to try to render this on its own separate layer and then bring it into Photoshop and then do all that compositing work. And I was like, you know what, there's got to be a way to do this inside of. Hey guys, do a big favor. If you're getting any value from this video, consider hitting that subscribe button so I can keep making more videos like this for you guys. Octane. So I remember following an old tutorial from the Octane Universe, Otoy Universe YouTube page, and one guy had did something similar to this. So I went back and revisited that. And now that I understand a lot more about the compositor, it made sense. But before, when I watched it, it made absolutely no sense. I was like, what is this doing? Right. So let me quickly show you what we've got going here. So adding on to what we've kind of established here. Again, make sure your AOV output, that's so you can view what you're doing here. So for example, I'm going to turn everything off here. Turn that off and turn that off. Okay. Now we're viewing what's happening here. If you are not on AOV output, like say you're on denoise, and I come back here and I re-enable my stuff here, like re-enable, you notice we don't see anything happening, right? We don't see anything happening, like re-enable. What's wrong? It's broken. No, we're not viewing that output of the AOV. So you have to come over here, render passes, preview render passes, say, I want to view that AOV output one. Now we see that. Okay. Now it's active again. There it is. There it is. Right. So let me just kind of break this down to a more easier level for you guys to show you what we've done here and turn that off. Okay, cool. So what we do is we start off with just our, like I told you, here's our base render layer. This is just the beauty layer. Again, you can change this to whatever the heck you want, right? But in this case, I'm just using the beauty layer because that's our main output. Then we have our denoise, which is up here at the top. And I have this little bit of denoiser set up here so I can control how much of the denoiser, like right now, it's just 100%. It's washing out all my details. There's 0. So I just like to control it a little bit here, right? And this one affects the alpha. So typically, if you're just doing basic composite, leave this off. Okay, like that's why it's getting better, because I think it's only affecting the alpha and not affecting the colors. So this is like, yeah, just use this. Okay. So I got a little bit of a denoiser in there, about 60% of the denoise image coming through. Make sure you connect your denoise beauty and your denoise albedo and your denoise normal. The reason why, because this is just giving the denoiser more information so it knows exactly what it's working with. We're giving it as much detail so it can optimally optimize or denoise optimize, whatever. Give it the most information so it can know what it's denoising. Okay. If you guys are getting value from this video, consider hitting the subscribe button. It's free and it helps me keep going and keeps me making more stuff for you guys to understand Blender Octane. Okay. Then there was another switch here that also kind of right here, pre-filter auxiliary inputs. Again, this also will help us clean up some minor details. Basically pre-filtering these passes that are coming into here, and it basically will help us to get even a more cleaner output. Okay, so once we've got that set up, now we're going to jump down here and you can say that was layer number 1 is this guy. Layer number 2 is the denoising setup here, which I have all framed up here, my denoising setup. And then we go to layer number 3. Okay, layer number 3, we'll go ahead and follow that down here. Layer number 3 is just my way of using the old, I like the old word version a little bit better. I need to get out of that habit. But anyways, I'm using the apply imager and post processing. If I turn that on, you can see we've got a little bit of right here on the edges, we got a little bit of distortion going on. I got a little bit of that distortion. Excuse me. Again, I'm using the post processing, and here is the post processing. I got a little bit of bloom in there. I've got some chromic aberration, right? See, there's a chromic aberration, right? And then there's like I got some bloom going. So we go, there's a bloom, but I'm choking it off pretty hard, right, with the cutoff. So there's that. Then again, if you want, you can add your glare in here. There's glare, right? We can go for an anamorphic setup 1, and then maybe take this angle to 90, right? Where is it? Rotation angle 90. Boom. There you go. You got some anamorphic flares. Okay. That's how you would set that up, right? We'll just leave it on for now. All right. So then within this world here, within the image, I added another one, which is the imager node. And this is basically the camera imager node. The same thing that's here. It's right. Woo, woo, woo. It's right here also. Okay. But this one is overriding the other one. So there's my camera imager. I forgot what I had that set at 1. Whatever. This is not a real render. It's just a practice render. And then you've got all of your control. Again, we've got the hot pixel control. You've got everything you have in that normal one here. Okay. Nothing special, nothing new, right? There it is. That's all there. Then what I did was, if we go back up to our next string, we have number 4, layer number 4. Again, we're stacking these on top. Okay. Layer number 4, I actually have a custom, applied a custom curve. And it's basically just like a color ramp curve, right? Just like, pulling down. Let me zoom out. Oop, there we go. There we go. There you can see the difference. That's all we're doing. Just a little bit of a S curve on it, right? Trying to control that and just play. Just like, okay, I want to bring those levels down a little bit. Boom. So there's my S curve. Okay. And then I grouped all that stuff in its own world. Then we come up to number 5, layer number 5. This is stacked on top of that. We have, I wonder if I should stack that post processing on top of this. Oh, quick question, right? The easiest way to do that, all I have to do is come over here and say post-processing, I want on top. And now the post-processing is on top of this next layer setup that I have here. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and take that back down to what I had it there. All right, number 5, layer number 5. We come over here, and this is where we start to build that background mask kind of thing. Like if we turn it on, this is where we start to build that here. And this was this was really cool. I'm so glad I watched this video again here. Let me actually go through and turn everything off so we can see what's happening. All right, cool. So within that, again, I set up another group layer. So whenever you're doing this, the easiest way to think about this is the layer group will allow you to group multiple effects or things in a group. So like we did with the denoiser, I made a subgroup and it made a little stack of layer groups, and within that group. So using layer groups is going to be something that you're going to use quite often. So if you look here, I have another layer group brought in here, and then I'm going to start building up another layer group. So the first thing I took was another render AOV. And again, the render AOV gives us access to all of our passes here. And I'm using the Z depth pass on this one here. So if we wanted to view that, I can come over here to render passes and we can go to Z depth. This is the Z depth pass that we're seeing here. Okay. Again, how do you set the range of your Z depth? If you go back over to your render AOVs and you come here, you see we have this Z depth right here. Okay. This is where we can control our range of our Z depth here, right here. Okay. I think it was at 45 or 46 or something like that. What was it? Undo. Yeah, it was at 46. Okay. So you can control the range of that through the AOV passes. Then we go back over to our compositing, Octane compositing. So there's my Z depth. Now, since we're trying to make the background darker and the foreground lighter, this is actually reversed, right? Because this is making black and white mask, distinct black and white mask. That's all it is. So we want the darks to be in the back and the lights to be in the front. So we take our layer group, we come in here and we do a channel invert, literally. And again, how do you find all these nodes? You just click in here and you can search, or you can just, I would advise just spending a day, like, 20, 30 minutes just playing in here, looking at all the available stuff that you can do in the compositing here, right? So I don't know exactly where this channel one was. Color, channel invert, SR right here. Standard resolution, or I forgot what SDR standard for. Anyways, so there. Now we have our channel invert. We want to invert the channel. Let's go ahead and turn that on. Oh, hang on. We're still viewing the ZDef pass over here. We need to go back to our AOV output. There we go. Okay. And now we should, there we was before, right? And then we take this, enable it, boom. Now it flips it. Okay. Actually, I want to see, I just want to show you guys the results of this first. How can I show you just the results of this first? What if I turn off? Okay, there we go. I can just turn that off, turn off the beauty pass. So let's go back here. So this is where we were. We were here with the Z depth. We wanted to flip the value so we can take the dark to white. We add the channel invert. Boom. Now we've inverted it. Okay. And then the next layer that I went and did was an adjust the brightness so we can adjust the luminosity. And then go ahead and hit illuminate. Now we're bringing up the foreground and making it brighter. And this is really sensitive. So hold down shift when you use this because you can see how sensitive it is. Okay. And then after that, we added another layer on top of that, apply a gamma. And that was to smooth out this transition here. And again, this is all, up to your likings. There it is. You can see the gamma. We can control that and just kind of like feather out that edge. I can make it a little bit more pronounced, something like that. Okay. Kind of feathering out that edge. Then we had another one on top of that in the adjust opacity. Same adjust opacity that we're using here on our denoise spread, right? We're just going to take the whatever we've got and adjust the opacity of it. Always remember. And again, these work as the things are on top, they affect everything down below. Okay. So then after that, now if we enable this, you can just see this is what it's doing. It's kind of like the overall control of that, right? And in this case, we probably could use this so you can see the effective inclusion only. You can see what's happening versus this, right? Okay, so that's where that's at. Let me see where let's get back to there, 83. Okay, so that's the mask that we built. Basically, this is all that's doing, but we don't really see it. Oh, and then I added a blend mode. So let me unhook that for a second so I can show you. So let's go back and turn on our beauty pass, our main beauty pass. Again, this is the bottom. If there's nothing there, we're working with nothing. So this is on the bottom. Turn that on. Now you can see what we've got here. Now all of this that we've just did here, it's a giant mask basically that we built. So how do we do the math? Like the Photoshop add and subtract and multiply right here, blending settings. You can see that blending settings. You click that, it pops out this node right here. That's going to allow us to do math, which is the same node that I already have right here. Okay, this blending setting. If you look in here, we've got all kinds of math that we can do. So I set that to multiply, take that output and put it into the blending settings. And boom, we blend that, we multiply that right on top. So this is kind of hard to grasp at first. Like it took me a while to really understand, like, how the hell do you comp in here? Well, if you start to thinking stacking layers, once you start that, you do your layer groups, you can stack stuff on top. Then within the layer group, that's where we can do the math, the blending mode, the blending settings. So once you understand this concept, it's very easy and very powerful to start compositing right here inside of Octane. So you can see that once we've got that, boom, here it is. There's our blending setting. Blending this, everything that's in this group will automatically get the master blend on top of this group, which is another layer within another group on top of this. Okay, so here was our original beauty pass. Here's our denoising pass. Here's our post-processing passes, 3 and 4. Post-processing passes. They're not using any blend modes because they're not needed for what we're doing on that pass, right? But then when we get to over here for building out our mask, we needed to multiply that over the top. So that's where we add in our blend settings, okay? That's basically in a quick nutshell, the whole setup here. And this is the output and the result. Now, again, when you export this, you won't see this at export. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so we're finished rendering. Again, we don't see anything that we did. Like, you're like, where is it? Again, it's a pass. It's an additional pass. Here's all my beauty passes I have, and there's our AOV pass. And then boom, there it is. We've got it's a little bit too dark. I could probably back that off, but just to show you guys, that's basically it. So now this is ready to roll. Like, you can just take this and you could be done with it, but I would still actually, yeah, we could be done with it. Normally, even in Photoshop, I add a little bit of a contrast. I add a little bit of brightness. I can just do that here. I don't even need to really actually even take this to Photoshop. So again, just to quickly, I can come over here. How would we do that? Well, okay, let's look at it. As a layer wise, we built our mask here. Actually, our mask was a little bit heavy, so we can back that off a little bit. I could probably just turn down the opacity. Let's let the render come through. Okay, so the first question you're gonna ask is where will we put this at in the setup here? And again, if we can keep going in layer order, if I think about it like this, okay, this was our base here. These were the add-ons. So let's just add it on top of this because it's gonna be overall. Now to quickly adjust that darkness that we had on ours, which was a little bit too dark, and now this is another thing. This file is taking a little bit, like right now you can see how like long it's taking. The reason why it's taking this long is I have some unpacked materials, some materials that still have files that haven't been unpacked. Unpack all of those for to get your viewport back. If you don't, it starts to slow down the viewport. But I'm just being lazy because this is all about compositing right now for me. So let's go to the overall opacity here and let's maybe back that off a little bit because we noticed in the render it was a little bit heavy. So I'm just gonna take the overall opacity, go 75, and then let's come back here and let's maybe just add in a little bit of brightness and contrast. So we can do that on the main pipeline here. Add in another one. Let's go in here, go to add. We can go to what color? Look, we've got adjustment, we've got saturation, we've got all these things here. Look, boost highlights. So I'm just gonna do a brightness, right? I'm gonna do a brightness node. And I like to just kind of build up like kind of like this to kind of keep my chain going. So let's go like here for right now. All right, so I can control the brightness. Gonna bring that up just a tad bit more. And then I'm gonna come in here, add another one. We're gonna add in a contrast. Here is our contrast. All right, kind of bring that there, 1.4. And let's add one more and let's add a saturation while we're at it. Come in here, and there it is, color, saturation, add that on top. And I could probably group these all together, right? So let's boost up our saturation just a tad bit. Actually, I'm going to desat it. I tend to notice that I like that desaturation look a little bit with the renders, just a little bit there. Okay. Now I can just take these guys here and I can group them. Boom. And that's like you can label all these and there's my color adjustment. Okay. So there's all that. Now let's go ahead and render one more time. Go ahead and hit render. All right. That's finished. Let's come back to our AOV, render AOV pass. All right. There it is. That's a little bit more darker and it lightened it up a little bit more. Does seem like to me we're still missing like there might be another thing I need to take a look at, and it's like I'm seeing this for some reason looks a lot darker than what we saw in the actual render. So I'm thinking that it might have to do with color space issues where like I noticed that right now we're in raw color management, but over here it does seem a little bit lighter. Like so that's where I wonder maybe like I noticed there is a lot of, for example, there are a lot of nodes that have to do with color space IO, but let me know, like, for example, if I come back over here, we come over here to, again, we see some of these have SDR, SDR only. I'm going to do some research really quickly and figure out what that means. And I'll make an update video on that. But and look here, look at these effect display, convert SLR to aces, to basic display, smooth sRGB. Okay, see, one of these might need to be plugged in somewhere. Actually, let me take this one right here for a second. And let's see what that does really quickly here. We're going to add this one in here. All right, like, I see this is making some adjustment to highlights there. Clip to white, not really seeing. It is doing something, but yeah, I definitely need to look into that. I'll do some more research and make an update video on that. Maybe even see here, I'm using a adjust SDR only. And all right, I had to check it out really quickly. SDR stands for Standard Dynamic Range Only, indicates that the node operates strictly on color values clamped to the standard 0.0 to 1.1 display, typically 8-bit, 16-bit nonlinear color space, rather than full 32-bit linear high dynamic range HDR data. So when you use an SDR only node, the values above 1, blown out highlights, intense light source, and the values below 0 are clamped or tone mapped down before the operation occurs. Operations like Photoshop style, contrast adjustments, gamma curve, and specific blend modes expect traditional SDR values. They cannot compute mathematically over unbound float numbers. That's basically what that is. So, and also I figured out, I think that I do have a mismatch in color space somewhere management because typically I don't use the camera imager here, and I think the camera imager might be messing with something that has to do. See, we can convert all this. Oh, it says convert to SLR display enable. Yeah, I'll figure that out and then I'll make an update video on it. But that's basically So that is just a quick breakdown of what I do inside my school community, guys. If you guys are interested in that, links down below, 7-day free trial. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.